Welcome to rucifail. I've been meaning to do this video for a while. I just want to show you some basics about how to never get lost or how to find your way around the maps on DayZ. So when you spawn in, you're facing north. So I haven't moved since I spawned in. North is this way. Now, if you hold down the Alt key on your keyboard, unfortunately I'm on PC, I don't know the controls for console. But for me, I hold down the Alt key and I can look around without changing facing forward. So you can see I'm not moving my body position, so I haven't lost which way was north. But I can see that the coast is here on my right and not really behind me, which means I'm on, or most likely on the east coast. There are some exceptions to that where the coast ducks in and out, but I'm on the east coast, which is fantastic. I know where I am in that sense. So I can turn around and I can head due west to head inland a bit, or if I want to head more kind of north west, that'll really get me into the higher tier areas pretty quickly. But because I don't know where I am, if I head northwest, I might be right up near the top of the map, or I might be right down the bottom. So how do you actually figure out where you are on the map? Okay, I'm on the east coast, so that's helped me. A lot of the towns have these signs. So this says that you're entering the town, and the one going the other way has the line through it, which means that you live in that town. Pretty straightforward, right? However, you can use these signs here and you can spell it out. So I don't know how to pronounce that, but I could jump onto a website called iZurvive, so iZurvive.com. I think I spelled that right. And I could type in the name that I saw, and I don't have to use the funny characters that I've got here. I could just start going. So we'll call that a C, O, call that one an N, H, E, maybe a Y. And that's probably all we need to do. All right, so we now know that we're in Solnichny. I think that's how you pronounce that as well. And I can work out where I want to go from here. So I can see where I'm going and how I want to do it. Okay, so the next thing that you'll see, so we've still got that sign up here, tells us where we are, saying that's Solnichny. We have these signs here which will tell us where we're going. So we can follow trail markers, following this trail sign here and that color, and that'll take us to these towns here. So if we want to go to that place there, we can follow the trail. Now there is a map just over here, we'll come to that next, but let's just show you how these trail markers work. So they are painted on trees, on rocks, or sometimes just on pillars. So we follow this and we'll follow the trail around, and we will find somewhere, hopefully a color sign, possibly down here. Here we go, I can see one. So there's a trail marker here. Where's the next one? Right here, we can follow this trail. Oh, there's probably another one down here somewhere. There's one. And there's one over here. And you can see we've now found a trail. So we could follow this along. We'll find that there's more trail markings. I can see them up here. Sometimes you might find them just painted on a tree, or sometimes they'll even be on a rock. But they'll always be kind of this white background with the color of the trail that you're following. And you can follow that wherever you're going to help find your way around. All right, let's go back to the map. Okay, so we're at the map. Now, on Livonia and Chernobyl, they've put these handy red dots on the map showing where you are. So, yep, Solnichny, we know where we are. The Ukrainian or Russian or Belarus spelling of the name. And you can even see that trail mark there, which goes off to Olivets, I think it's called, which is there, which was on that sign over here, right? So we can see that's up here too. Tells us how far away it is, and then we could keep following that sign and we could end up at this. Is it Topka? We'll find out what that is. It's about 5.8, so we could probably keep following that trail, and we can see that we come from here to here. Oh, getting cold. Through here, and where does that trail go? Around here. There we go, it goes to Gorka. So you can see the trail ends up there. You can also see on this map there's a well here, so that's what's in the center of the screen. At the moment, that little kind of looks like a well, and you can see what else is around to help you find your way. So I think there's some church markings and such, and you can see on this one there's some tents, so you can help find your way around. Look, hospitals, all that sort of stuff on the map. So, also as you go through the game, you can find maps that you can carry yourself, which is basically this big map here, but it's in your hand. You can see it's kind of got the same cover. So we open that up and we figure it out. So we know that we're in Solnichny. We can zoom in, and again you can see the trail that runs out of here. Goes up to Orvalets, and then we could follow it along to the next town, keep going, and we'll end up in Gorka. Now, it can be hard to see. You can just see Gorka written there. It can be hard to make out these names for some reason. I'm not sure how you change that. But there you go. So you've got that. So you can combine that, if you're trying to find it, if you're going cross-country and not following a trail, you combine your knowledge of where you are, either with iSurvive or the in-game map, and then you can use a compass. There's two types of compasses in the game. So there's the orienteering compass, and now this might seem pretty straightforward for most of you, but I'll go through it anyway. You point the red needle with the N on it to the N on the compass. That means you're facing north, right? And then you can see which way is east and which way is west from there, right? Pretty easy, you can see which way is which. But that's facing north. Now, if you put the compass in your hotbar and leave it in your hand, like it is there, it'll keep pointing north in your hotbar. So you can run around and you can see exactly where you're going. It moves around, but as soon as you slow down and stop running, it points north again. So you're good to go. Now, if you put it out of your hotbar and put it back in your backpack or whatever, you can see straight away it reckons north is off this way somewhere. Oh, now it's this way. And if you're running around, you'll see it moves around and it wants me to go this way. No, it wants me to go that way. No, it wants me to go this way. North is not right. If I pull the compass out again, bang, straight away it's pointing the right direction, going it. The other style compass, just the one called compass, which is more of an old school compass, you press the click to open it and you can see it. And so again, you point the red arrow towards the line on the top. So you can kind of see there's an arrow and an arrow. You kind of line those two up, and that way is north. Now, I think what you could essentially do with these is you can try and sight, through it to get an idea that, okay, so if I'm going to use a landmark, I can kind of look through here. I don't know. No, you can't make it more stable. But you could look at a mountain and go, okay, so that mountain's basically north, and then you could put this away and not have to think about it. So you've got that. And this one works the same as well. If you put it in your hotbar, you have to leave it open so you can see what's going on. But you could just make out that, yep, that way's pointing north when I've got it out. But if you put it away, even if it's open, all of a sudden, yeah, north is now pointing back this way somewhere. And now that way, it's not accurate at all. So you've got to keep it in your hand. But if you've got it in your hotbar, at least you don't have to be running around like looking at it the whole time. You can see where you're going, you can watch where you're going, and you can get the basic idea out of the hotbar at the bottom there of where you're going. Now, say you find a GPS. We'll put that away. So you find one of these GPS receivers. Now, with the GPS receiver, they do require a 9-volt battery, but you can turn them on if you put a battery in them. No, the battery's in. Oh, that's a dead battery. Let me see if I can find myself a new battery. Let me magic that up. Alright, so now I've got a new 9-volt battery in my inventory. Sorry about that. Right, so you can turn it on and you can see I've got 1.33 and 0.91 for the X and Y. And it's also saying I'm about 7 meters above sea level. Excellent. The altitude can be handy because it can help you figure out where you are on the map, or maybe which mountain you're on, or it can also be the reason you're getting cold as you get further up the mountain. What I want you to do for now, though, is ignore the decimal point, is what you're seeing there. So you've got 133 and 0.91. Now, come across here and look at this map. Okay, so this doesn't have the 133, so you move the decimal point. So it's 13.3. So we've got 13.3 on the x-axis, which is the bottom one, and we've got 9.1 on the y-axis, which is going up. And if you have a look, 13.3, so somewhere around, just to the left of the middle of 13, you follow that up and look, hey, where are we? We're on that red dot. And what did I say? 9.1. Well, we are it's possibly a little bit off, but we're pretty close to where we are. It reckons 9.1. Actually, no, 9.1 would be right because the numbers go down. So 9.1, yep, we're basically spot on that red dot. Surprise, isn't that? Isn't that funny that we're actually where the map says we are? However, you can then do the same with the in-game map. So if you don't have that, if you've got the map in your hand, so we know we're 133 and 091. So we can pull the in-game map out, bring that up. 133 and 091. Now the difference you have here, I'll just go to Solnichny because we know we're there. You've got the numbers on the side again, so like that. But as you zoom in, those numbers will change. So straight away, 133 and 091. So the squares have got even bigger. 091, so we're somewhere here on the 133. And look at that, there's that sign behind me. This must be where I'm standing, basically right here. I'm in this square somewhere at least, so I can figure it out from that. Now there is a way you can do it if you've got your own server, or if you're playing on a server, where it will highlight a circle around where you are. I'll put a link in the description to the video from, I think it's Scale Speed of Gaming, that shows you how a server admin can enable that for you. There's no additional mods or anything, so you should be able to do it in console as well as PC, and your server admin can just enable something. Your server admin can even enable it so you don't even need to carry a map. There's no additional mods needed for any of that. It can just all be done in the base config files, and I'll explain how to do all of that in well, Scale Speed of Gaming explains how to do all of that in the attachment below. Now I'm rambling. I'll tidy this up in post. So Scale Speed of Gaming explains how to do all of that if you look at the video I've linked below of his. Alright, so that's basically that. I hope you got something from that and it helps you find your way around a little easier. I know it took me a little while to figure these things out, but iSurvive is a great resource that you can use. It's there. I often have it running on a tablet or something like that, or even on my phone, so I can bring that up without interrupting the game. It does take away from, I guess, some of the adventure of the game. I do like playing, especially on new maps, just with the tourist map and trying to find my way around. And then if I find a GPS, you beauty, I'm good. But after a while, when you're really just like, oh, I really need to find a box of nails, or I really want to find a milli base, or I really want to find whatever, iSurvive's a great way of doing that. All right, hope you enjoyed that, and I'll catch you in the next one. Cheers.